Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of New Westminster. My name is Peter Williams, and I'm very honored to be part of this 5-week series on the music of the Beatles. As you can tell, I was probably around 60 years ago when the Beatles were everywhere. I'm going to start out with a song that Rhona's chosen to be the opening song, and when John Lennon wrote this song, it was at the height of Beatlemania, and he was feeling trapped as he couldn't go anywhere. They couldn't do anything without being mauled or mobbed. So he wrote this song, and I didn't realize until I was working out an arrangement for it how profound the lyrics really are. You've heard it, you've heard all these songs, so please feel free to sing along with me. When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and opened up the doors. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? And now my life has changed in oh so many ways. My independence seems to vanish in the haze. But every now and then I feel so insecure. I know that I just need you like I've never done before. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? So much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so self-assured. Now I find I've changed my mind and opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. And I do appreciate you being round. Help me get my feet back on the ground. Won't you please, please help me? Help me, help me.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all on this stunning, stunning day. And welcome to our 5-week celebration of the Beatles. More about that in a little while. Welcome to Abaya, who is going to sing for us. Welcome, Peter. I'm so glad that you're here. And welcome to all of you who are joining us on this day. And if you are joining us live or watching us sometime in the future on YouTube, then on behalf of all of us here at Unity in New Westminster, a very warm welcome to you as well. We are glad that you are watching. I am Reverend Rhona Segarra, and it is my pleasure, my privilege, and my honor to be the minister at this community of love and support and fun and joy. It is truly an honor to be the person standing here, sharing ideas with you. And why are we here? Because Unity offers ideas for full and abundant living. We draw on the teachings of Jesus, and we draw on faith traditions from all over the planet. We also draw from the wisdom of story or song or poetry, prose. We discover that there is wisdom to be found that can help us, empower us in all aspects of our life. And this, for the next 5 weeks, we're going to use the songs of the Beatles to inspire us to live lives that are more calm, more connected, and more contented. Let's open our service today in a time of centering prayer. We acknowledge with gratitude that we are on the traditional and unceded ancestral territory of the Kakite First Nation. And we give thanks for First Nation peoples everywhere, for their love of this land. We give thanks that we can come together in person and through the wonders of technology to remind ourselves that we are all connected, that whatever our understanding may be for the creative energy that forms us, that forms the planet, that forms the stars, that it is one power, and that there is no place that power is not. Some may understand that power with the word God. Others may prefer creator, life, the force, Allah, Yahweh. Thousands and thousands of names, religious, secular, scientific. We lean into the idea that it is all one, and that there is no spot that power is not, including each one of us. And it is from that sense of oneness and interconnectedness that we extend a blessing, a prayer, an intention for love, for peace, for healing to every person on this planet. That every person on this planet realizes and knows that they matter. And for this power to pray, this power to intend, this opportunity to remind ourselves of who we are so grateful. Amen. I'm going to invite Barb to come and do the daily word with us. If you are feeling distracted by some noises going on over there, we have a door jamb that is catching on the carpet, and it's not very safe. So they're trying to fix that before somebody gets hurt. Yes, it does feel like home. Barb, I will help you. We're gonna go over here. Yep. That way you can put it.
Good morning. Divine order. During times of uncertainty, I trust divine order. How often have I felt disappointed when something did not work out as I had planned or hoped, only to discover a blessing I had not anticipated. Understanding that a seeming obstacle may actually be an unrecognized opportunity. I resist the temptation to wonder why the setback is happening. Instead, I pray, asking what is mine to do. I may receive guidance to wait for a better time to pursue my plan. Or perhaps an insight will arise out of what appeared to be a failure, showing me a way forward that will accomplish even a greater good. Affirming divine order keeps me patient and trusting in right outcomes in all situations. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12.
Thank you, Bob. Here, I can help you. Come this way. Oh, what's going to help you? Perfect.
No, I want you.
Do we have the door crisis averted now?
I think so.
Okay.
Just a tiny little bit sticking up, so watch your toes, Ringo.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the Beatles for the next 5 weeks. And before we get into the program proper today, just a bit of a reminder about who they are. I know, I see someone saying there is no introduction necessary, and that is true. The Beatles were made up of 4 members: John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, also known as Richard Starkey. That's his real name. They are the best-selling band in history. They were discovered in 1961. They had actually started, the band had started before that, but really took off beginning in 1961. And they have had estimated sales of over 800 million albums worldwide. They are the best-selling music artists in the United States. And they have had more number one hits, on the top 100 chart than any other group. They also have the number one spot of the top 10 artists of any group on the Billboard 100, which is like the Academy Award listings of music. John Lennon is the person who we're going to focus on today. In terms of every week, we're going to spotlight one of the members. He was born in 1940 and in Liverpool, England. And it was in 1957 that he first met Paul McCartney and asked him to join the band, which was a precursor to the Beatles, called the Quarrymen. He married his first wife, Cynthia Lennon, in 1962, and they had one child, Julian. They were divorced in 1968, and then John Lennon married Yoko Ono in 1969. And then later that year, he left the Beatles. In 1971, he wrote the song Imagine, which we will all sing later. When his son Sean was born in 1975, he decided that he wanted to devote more time to family. And so he left his musical career for a while. And it wasn't until 1980 that he returned to music, to a public music anyway. And a few short weeks after the release of his newest album at the time, Double Fantasy, that he was shot at the age of 40 by someone who considered himself a fan. You know how we all have a picture in your mind about when certain things happen or when you find out about certain things? I still have a picture in my mind of being at my university dorm in London, Ontario, and my dad calling me and saying, John was just killed. And I'm like, John, who? And I did not expect to feel emotional about that memory. But it was such a powerful time. So shocking that at a young age, 40, that John Lennon was so abruptly taken from us. He had so many wise quotes. He was, if one had to kind of pin things on each of the Beatles, one would say that John was the intellectual. He was the wisdom person. And one of my favorite quotes from him was this one. When I was 5 years old, my mother always told me that happiness was the key to life. When I went to school, they asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I said, happy. They told me I didn't understand the assignment. I told them they didn't understand life. Another powerful quote he wrote. I believe in God, but not as one thing, not as an old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in all of us. I believe that what Jesus and Muhammad and Buddha and all the rest said was right. It's just that the translations have gone wrong. Doesn't that sound more like what we here at Unity understand? Is that we're all part of God. God is it, by whatever the understanding of that word might be. A couple of others that I didn't put on slides. You're just left with yourself all the time, whatever you do anyway. You've got to get down to your own God in your own temple. It's all down to you, mate. We all have Hitler in us, but we also have love and peace. So why not give peace a chance? And this one, which I find so appropriate even now, the thing the 60s did was to show us the possibilities and the responsibilities that we all had. It wasn't the answer, it just gave us a glimpse of the possibility. John Lennon inspired so many beautiful songs. Lennon and McCartney considered themselves sort of equal. So you'll never see something that says lyrics by John Lennon, music by Paul McCartney, or they always agreed that they would just be one unit, Lennon, McCartney. And here to help us sing and listen to one of the most beautiful songs that were written, this one, the lyrics by John Lennon, is Abaya. Come on up, Abaya.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither wildly as they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my opened mind, possessing and caressing me. Jai Guru. Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tumble blindly as they make their way across the universe. Jai Guru. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Sounds of laughter, shades of earth are ringing through my opened ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love which shines around me like a million suns. It calls me on and on across the universe. Jai Guru Deva. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Jai Guru Deva. Jai Guru Deva. Jai Guru Deva. Jai Guru Deva.
Thank you, Abaya. Oh my God. Amazing. Let's move into a time of meditation. I think that needs to face a little bit the other way. Well, it's picking up. Oh, clips on it.
I didn't expect it to cool your speaker.
It cooled my speaker as well as me. Yeah, thank you. You're just going to have to watch me glisten. So we move into a time of quiet as we open ourselves to hear today's message. So I invite you to close your eyes with me if that's comfortable. Feel free to leave them open if that's more secure for you. And become aware of your breath. Take note of the in and the out, the rhythm of life, the gift of life which we so often take for granted. And with every breath, allow your body and your mind to become more still. As we consider the notion of nothing's going to change my world. Jai Guru Deva translates into glory to the shining remover of darkness. Glory to the shining remover of darkness. Imagine how it would feel if we knew that nothing could change our inner world. What if we knew that despite confusion, despite turmoil on the outside, that we could always turn within and look for and connect with the shining remover of darkness. Jai Guru Deva. And here, a prayer comprised of Beatles song titles. Rest and enjoy. My sweet Lord, here, there, and everywhere, within you, without you, I'm looking through you. I want to tell you it's all too much. It don't come easy. So love me, do. I've got to get you into my life because you really got a hold on me. It's been a hard day's night. Tell me what you see. A fool on a hill? A nowhere man? Do you want to know a secret? I should have known better. But we can work it out. With a little help from my friends, I'll step out onto that long and winding road. here comes the sun. I'll follow the sun. Because I believe in yesterday. And strawberry fields forever. I've got a feeling. I want to hold your hand as I journey across the universe. I call your name. Don't let me down. Just say the word, and I'll let it be. All you need is love. Imagine.
Just before we start to sing this, sorry, when I was driving here today and thinking about this song, and in light of what happened in America yesterday, I think this song has even more meaning today. Just imagine all the people living life in peace. The song's been around for 53 years. You've heard it as many times as I have. You know it, so sing it with me, because I can't really sing it. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday
as Peter said, the events in the United States yesterday, the attempted assassination of a former president, somehow makes this talk even more relevant today. The idea of how do we change our world? How do we resolve differences? How do we shift? And to do this, we're going to look at 5 songs, some a little bit more deeply than others. We're going to look at Help, followed by the song Revolution, which we will sing later. And then Across the Universe, Imagine, and Here Comes the Sun. Because each one of them has a message that we can build on and learn from about how to best navigate through difficult times when we can see and know that change isn't just needed or desired, but is here. And what's true, of course, is there's no such thing as stasis. We are always moving, always shifting. I don't know how it was for you, but I remember maybe a couple of years ago realizing that history didn't end in our time. That here I was thinking, oh, all the world wars are done, all the diseases are pretty much done, science has got it, the politics of the planet are for the most part pretty stable, and all of those dark, unenlightened ages are behind us. And it's almost like something went, no, 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 no. And here we are today with a time of incredible turmoil on our beautiful planet. Let's look at how each one of these songs can help us. We begin by looking at Help. As Peter so wisely shared earlier today, the reason John Lennon wrote the song is because he was feeling completely helpless. Now imagine this band. Why do you sing? Why do you play music? Because you want to share it. Why do you want to share it? Because you want people to sing along with you, and hopefully you'll become famous. And they'll love you for it. And of course, that's exactly what happened, and it comes at a cost. And in the case of the Beatles, it came at the cost of their own freedom. And so you hear these words about, my life has changed in so many ways. My independence has vanished in the haze. John Lennon himself called it a cry for help. And when we think in terms of something personal, something more local, or something global, the first thing we recognize is that we can't do it all ourselves. And so there's this cry for help, a cry for help me. It's almost as if that's the first step, is to recognize This is not working. I need help. So then we think, okay, let's see if we can find help. Where can we find answers? Where can we get clarity? Well, we get a clue about this in the song Revolution, which we will sing later. And this is one of those songs that isn't as well known, isn't as well, it's not the song that people would go to when they want to sing along so much. The wisdom in it is extraordinary. You see, in verse 1, this idea of help, I'm going to go and ask for help. And the person says, well, we need a revolution. Imagine this just almost like a discussion. Help. Okay, let's have a revolution. To which the person saying help says, okay, we all want to change the world. So then the discussion goes, well, it's evolution. It's part of human nature, part of the planet, that this is just going to happen. And you can feel the person saying help, saying, okay, you haven't lost me yet. We all want to change the world. So revolution, evolution, I can acknowledge that there is an opportunity for change, and part of our natural evolution is to move forward. And then the person hears about destruction and says, no, you can count me out. Now, when Lennon wrote this originally, he wrote it without, and then kind of as a shadow you hear in. And that speaks a little bit to the idea of the confusion of how do you make a revolution? How do you make change? How do you evolve without destruction? But he stood by, you can count me out. Destruction does not work. And oh my goodness, are we not seeing that now? It is as 2 or 3 years ago when the planet seemed to be more or less stable. It was like, okay, destruction didn't work. We all agreed that it didn't work. Here we are. And then the person crying for help stands by, it's going to be all right. A powerful affirmation. It's going to be all right. So we see in verse 1 this agreement that change is something that is desired right now, but a disagreement about the method. Destruction is out. And we see an affirmation. It's going to be all right. It's a statement of trust that there is order somewhere in the midst of the mess. There's still a way to make this happen. Then we go to verse 2. And in verse 2, in our imaginary conversation, the person says, you say you got a real solution. We'd all love to see the plan. There's this longing for, I'm willing to hear your ideas. Let's see if we can come up with something so we can make this effective. Followed by, you ask me for a contribution. Well, I'm doing what I can. And maybe you have a hidden motive. Because now all of a sudden money is coming into this. But if you want money for people with minds that hate, all I can tell you is you have to wait. If your motive is to drum up money to fund people who hate, then that is not the way, and I am not willing to support it either. And I'm convinced it's going to be all right. So now we have destruction, no. Financial hidden motives for greed, for power, no. Now what? You'll say you'll change the Constitution. We all want to change your head. The idea of changing the Constitution is changing the rules. It is changing, moving from perhaps something that is more liberal to something that is more restrictive, or maybe the other way around. And we're seeing some of that happen in our society right now with a clawback of some of the more liberal outlooks that we have in our laws. So if we can't do it with destruction and we can't do it with power and money and hatred, then maybe we can do it with the law and we can limit everyone in some way. Sometimes we think it's the institutions that are the problem. But what happens, and what we want to make sure we don't engage in, is trading one form of tyranny for another. What we want to guard against is becoming so stuck on one way that we end up being as much on one side as the others are on the other, as polarized. And here, at the very last, we get a hint as to what might work better. And that is to free your mind. To free your mind to be open to something different. And then he goes to what is perhaps one of the most confusing lines, which is, if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone, anyhow. Now, Mao Zedong was a person who was the leader of the Chinese Communist Party for many, many years. And the jury is so polarized about the benefit and the harm that this man brought to the country. Some of his programs led to the starvation of millions of people in China. And at the same time, he was instrumental in having China recognized as its own country. And one of the things that happened in the 60s was that people who appreciated the idea of communism started carrying, like card-carrying liberals almost. And they were called Maoists. And John Lennon actually really appreciated what Mao was trying to do, even if some of his policies and things that he didn't work quite the way that he wanted. But what I think John Lennon was trying to say is whether it's card-carrying Maoist, whether it's card-carrying liberal, whether it's card-carrying conservative, whether it's what are the different things that the things that separate us, card-carrying LGBTQ versus cis and straight. Like, anytime we get to a place where we are so stuck in our own card-carryingness, we end up creating such a silo that we cannot communicate effectively with people who are other than we are. And I think that's his message, is that if you are carrying something that says, I am fiercely this and this only, that we are actually alienating ourselves from the other, and we're not going to be able to effectively make change. So in Revolution, the song Revolution, we don't want destruction. We don't want hatred. We don't want polarization that silos us so much that we can't have a conversation. It's almost as if it's taunting us, taunting the other to take aim at us because we're so different. Instead, we want to look for the places where we can identify similarities. And always, don't we want to know it's all right? Whenever you're in a place of war, we are right. The definition of me being right means that you must be wrong. Instead of an either or, the goal is to look for both and to trust that it's all going to be all right. Okay, moving on. Another great song. Across the Universe. Please just listen to the lyrics of this. Words are flying out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither and slip across the universe. In this first verse, we get a sense of confusion. Words flying, slithering, slipping, trying to reach for answers and not being able to grab onto them. Then that's followed by pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my opened mind, possessing and caressing me. Noticing the sorrow, but noticing that there's joy possible in my opened mind where I can see it all and accept it all. And again, another affirmation, nothing's going to change my world. Then it continues. Images of broken light dance before me like a million eyes. They call me on and on across the universe. Thoughts meander. It's so different. They meander like a restless wind. And then they tumble blindly. And yet, nothing's going to change my world. Haven't we all experienced that? That tumble and jumble of thoughts and words that we know that something's there and we can't quite touch it. To carry the universe thing a little further, you might say that they're nebulous. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But always it comes back to, nothing's going to change my world. A Sanskrit phrase. Glory to the shining remover of darkness. It's also a phrase that was said by the late Maharishi Mahesh Yogi about his own guru, Dev. And then we get to the optimistic part. Sounds of laughter, shades of life ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless, undying love, excuse me, shines around me like a million suns, leads me on, calls me on across the universe. There's this sense of confusion, from confusion to laughter. And how do we get that? How do we move from that slithering, sliding, tumbling, jumbling? With meditation, with affirmation, with nothing's going to change my world. I'm seeing all of this out there. Nothing is going to change my world. I'm willing to look and hear differently. And then I see the limitless, undying love that shines like a million suns. Oh, so beautiful. Have you ever thought about the fact that some of the biggest change agents in our world became change agents after they had been in prison? Gandhi, Mandela. I imagine that there are many who ended up going into prison because they were in that tumble-jumble place of destruction. And I think prison may have done them some good, because it was a place where they could figure out what worked. They took time to be still because it was forced on them. Who knows? I'm making it up. But I do wonder about the value of the time that we take when we sit in a place of nothing's going to change my world. How can I find limitless, undying love in the midst of all of this? Okay. Imagine another journey that we go on. 3 verses in Imagine, that's all. And the first one is global. Imagine there's no heaven. Imagine there's no hell below us. Imagine that it's only sky. And because it's global, it's easy if you try. Easy if you try. Then we move to something that's a little bit harder. No countries. But it's still something that you can imagine. I mean, imagine that you're a bird looking down and you can recognize that the borders are man-made. So it's actually not that hard to imagine that there are no countries. And you can see the wisdom of doing that, because the promise of doing that is that we wouldn't have anything to kill each other for. And by the way, religion is probably the number one killer of people, which objectively makes absolutely no sense. So imagine big. Imagine it's easy if you try, no heaven and hell. Imagine it isn't hard to do, no countries and no religion. And then it hits home. Imagine no possessions. This is about you. I wonder if you can. And yet it is in this place about you that the sense of sharing and unity and interconnectedness and brotherhood happen. So, we end our journey of change. I'm mindful of time, with another statement of hope. And that statement of hope is, here comes a sun, the sun. There are times, and some would say those times are now, when it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. When it seems like years since it's been here. Peace has been here. And yet, I encourage us all to take a little bit of comfort from the idea that we have been here for thousands of years. That we're still babies. That evolution will move us forward and call us from across the universe towards a place where images of broken light will now become the light of limitless, undying love. The help we need is not just from anybody. It's a revolution that begins with freeing our minds. It's an evolution that calls us to move across the universe, away from the jumble of thoughts, away from the jumble of words, and towards those images of broken light. Until we reach a place in our evolutionary journey, a place where limitless, undying love shines around us like a million suns. Move towards the light. Imagine. Here comes the sun. Don't you know? It's going to be all right. Bless you. Oh my goodness.
Thank you, Rhona, for inspiring message of hope. Revolution. So I need everybody to sing this one with me. So Ringo couldn't be here today, so you're going to have to be the drummer. I called him, but he had something else to do. You say you want a revolution, well, you know, we all want to change the world. You tell me that it's evolution, well, you know, We all want to change the world. But when you talk about destruction, don't you know that you can count me out? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? You say you got a real solution. Well, you know, we'd all love to see the plan. You ask me for a contribution. Well, you know, we're all doing what we can. But if you want money for people with minds that hate, all I can tell you is, brother, you'll have to wait. That's right. Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? Don't you know it's gonna be alright? You say you'll change the Constitution. Well, you know, we'd all love to change your head. You tell me it's the institution. Well, you know, you better free your mind instead. If you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. Don't you know it's gonna be alright? 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 Be all right.
Thank you, Peter.
Hello.
Hi, Nellie.
Please join us live or on Zoom tomorrow or for Monday meditation from 10:30 to 11:15. We check in with each other, we enjoy a guided meditation, and we uplift and acknowledge each person as we read the names of the people on our prayer list. To add a person to the prayer list, please fill in the prayer request slip found in your welcome packet with the person's first name and the first initial of their last name, and place it in the offering basket. You can also send us an email or submit a prayer request on our website or app. Our Wednesday evening discussion group is on break for the summer as we have a wonderful new youth group happening at Unity. This is for ages 14 and up. We meet between 7 and 9 p.m. and the sessions are led by Reverend Rhona. We're super excited about this and we would love to have the youth in your life join us. There are snacks, games, music, and it's a fun and safe space to hang out and get to know each other. Next Sunday, we continue part 2 of our 5-week Sunday morning series on the metaphysics of the Beatles and their music. Each Sunday features one of the Fab Four in an inspirational lesson. The programs will also include live sing-along performances of the Beatles songs. Next week's theme is Take a Sad Song and Make It Better, and we'll look at our power to choose our responses to life's experiences. One of our favorite musicians, Daniel Namode, will play a concert at Unity of Vancouver on Friday, July 26th. Tickets are $30 and available at unityofvancouver.org. It would be great if a bunch of us went from Unity of New Westminster. It's sure to be an amazing event. Mark your calendars for New Westminster's Pride celebration on Saturday, August 17th. We are looking for 6 or more people to fill 2-hour volunteer time slots between 2:30 to 8:30 p.m., so there will be 4 and 6 in our tent throughout the event. The sign-up sheet where people can pick their times in the fellowship hall. We would welcome your help in letting people know that Unity stands in support of people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. We are grateful for your gifts which support our ministry. Many of us contribute with pre-authorized payments, so if you are not placing anything in the contribution basket today, please bless it silently when it comes to you. Then pass it along the basket. Do I read this? Okay. For our online viewers, you'll find a donation link in the description of the recording, and please like and subscribe to our channel so we can reach more people. As we sing our blessing song, please bring to mind something you're grateful for. We are so blessed. Here comes the sun.
Yay, Nellie.
Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I sing, it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, here comes the sun, and I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes.
Peter Williams, wow. What a blessing you are. The first time I heard you sing, I thought, this guy, the thing about Peter that I appreciate so much is that he loves the crowd. He loves the sing-along. He loves to see people having fun. And that's more important to Peter than performance and solos and stuff like that. And I think that's magnificent. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Abaya, so much for singing today. What a beautiful voice you have.
The keeper.
Keep singing, keep singing. And thank you to our audio-visual folks, our greeters, the people making coffee, the people who are doing all the things behind the scenes. Thank you, Barb, for reading our daily word today. Thank you, Nellie, for reading our announcements. It's so fun to see so many people involved in various ways. Yes, Mr. Walt, what would you like to say?
Speaking of Nellie,
Speaking of Nellie.
she said the youth group is 14 and over.
Yeah.
Can I come?
Isn't there a cap at the top?
Oh, whatever your age is, minus, yeah. No. Lindsay, did you have a question? Yes, can I join Walt? Okay, you want to join Walt? You know, all are welcome. Thank you, Grant. Yeah, you know, Sundays are kind of like the youth group for the young at heart, right here, okay? Actually, all kidding aside, at some point when we have enough people that we will that we can break it into, teens and then 20s to 40s or something, that would be a lovely thing to do. At the moment, we aren't there yet. And so we are inviting people who are young at heart, but I would prefer to be people who are young at heart and under about the age of 40, if that's okay. Yeah, and if that sounds like ageism, call me on it. It's okay. All right. One last thing I want to share with you is it just happened that I was at Unity of Vancouver a couple of weeks ago as their guest speaker, and they announced that one of their musicians, Tom Arnson, who is someone who has played here. In fact, he did a Sound of Music Sunday. Remember we did the Sound of Music? So he is part of a band, a tribute band called Beatles Then and Now. And they are having a concert at Unity of Vancouver this Friday night coming up. And so if you are inspired to sing along and to hear music by the Beatles, then here's another opportunity for you to join in. Shall we move into a circle? Oh, and Gladys is, we are reimagining our prayer chaplaincy program. And so in the fall, we will plan to have a training program. But in the meantime, Gladys is a person who is trained as a prayer chaplain and is willing to hold private prayer with anyone who would like it. It will be in the prayer room, and everything that is said to Gladys in that space is held in confidence. So if you would like someone, help, I need someone, this is someone who will pray with you and remind you that you're not alone. So thank you. Let's move into a circle, and we're going to sing our peace song, and we're going to sing our prayer for protection. Please stay for coffee and for munchies. I love the Beatles shirts, y'all. I see quite a few of them. Thank you so much. Which side? Oh. Let me in.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. I am the light of God. I am the love of God. I am the power of God. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. You are the light of God. You are the love of God. You are the power of God. You are the presence of God. Wherever you are, God is. We are the light of God. We are the love of God. We are the power of God. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is. And all is well.
Yay! It's going to be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
Have a great week, everyone.